Our coverage continues now. Dr. Alan Lipman from Georgetown University. You talked about the subset of disturbed youngsters who are committing this kind of violence. How did we get to a point where the way to act out, the way to broadcast to the world that I'm a troubled young person, is to go into school and hit your parents or the staff or the world where it really hurts, and that's hit us where we're most vulnerable, and that's our kids in school?
Well, you know, it's the kids hitting the kids, and of course that's the most important thing. Look, David, I think it's a multi-factor model, and we need to look at it. Number one, we've got kids who come into the world with a propensity to be violent. They have a little bit more of a tendency to be impulsive and aggressive. That by itself is not going to do it. But unfortunately, these kids come in families that, even with the best of intentions, we're not talking about bad parents here, but we don't wind up with a family environment that shapes those tendencies towards violence so they're decreased. So we have angry, impulsive kids. Now we have the media. Doom alone, movies alone will not do it. But for these angry, impulsive, vulnerable kids, violence provides a solution, and it's a solution
Are we giving these kids too much power? Are we, in essence, telling them we're going to broadcast this image all over the world? You can call in a bomb threat in Allen, Texas, and we're going to shut down the schools. You have control. I mean, this is the last day of school.
Right.
And kids are prone to pranks anyway, but now they're taking it to this level. Do they, I mean, are the teenagers taking over the world here? Do they have more control when they're angry and want to strike out?
Teenagers aren't taking over the world, David, but we, as psychologists and parents and members of the community, need to do something that is very important. We need to look at kids who are angry, who are impulsive, and especially who have just been through some kind of negative life event. A trigger, a breakup, the kind of thing that, let's face it, 20 years ago might have led a child to punch a window. We now need to recognize is a warning sign. If your child has gone through some kind of traumatic event, something like bad grades or a breakup, start to think of your child as potentially ready to act out.
You talk about warning signs. We're going to put up on the screen some of these warning signs. Go through and preoccupation with other school shootings. You see them there, right? Withdrawal, becoming impulsive or angry, signs of depression, suicidal signs. These are things that parents need to be paying attention to, right?
Absolutely, and particularly we can see in this case and in some of the other cases, certainly we saw in Littleton, we saw in Jonesboro, we saw in Springfield, that in addition to the signs of anger and impulsivity, these are kids who were depressed. And it's funny, there was a statement from a child, Chris Dunn, who was saying this child also seemed depressed.
Dr. Alan Lipman, I got to leave it there, from Georgetown University. Thanks very much. On this day of more senseless violence in our nation's schools, in Congress they have passed, debated a juvenile justice bill. Juvenile justice bill, it's passed. We'll have live coverage on that coming right up.